Hello and welcome to Chapter 9 of Onward, which is placed to be read ideally in the month of February, because in the middle of the year, towards now more than the middle of the year, I am hoping that you might have some more bandwidth and energy to think about yourself as a learner. And so the habit for this month is be a learner. And the disposition that you're going to explore is curiosity. Now, I really think about this habit as offering you an opportunity to practice many of the strategies that you've learned and practiced in Onward in the workbook so far. Because being a learner is all about taking risks, and being vulnerable and gaining insight into your own practices and abilities that sometimes can be hard. At least it is for me. One of the key practices or strategies that I invite you to try that cultivates resilience is in any moment that is challenging. Any moment. Whether that's when you're in the classroom and a student acts in a certain way that triggers you, or your principal walks in and gives you a look, or you have a tiff with your partner about the dishes in the kitchen. Any moment that's challenging, that surfaces some uncomfortable emotions, ask yourself, what can I learn in this moment? What's possible for me to learn? And I do also mean any moment that's difficult, from those little tiny ones to the really big, challenging, painful moments in our lives. If in those moments we can ask ourselves, what is there for me to learn? What might be possible for me to learn? It can actually help us engage differently with the challenge of that moment. Sometimes the challenge of that moment is just too intense to be able to ask that question. But at some point, once that level of intensity settles down a bit, again, whether that's in the classroom when a kid says something to you on a Friday afternoon and you're already exhausted, or in the really, really hard parts of our lives, asking yourself, what's possible for me to learn, shifts you into a different place. But that question also opens us up to learnings which can be really hard. Like, why is it that I'm always triggered by that kid or those kinds of kids? And so that leads us back to some of the other strategies in Onward around understanding yourself, understanding your emotions, deconstructing the stories that you're telling. These last chapters of Onward, I think of as an opportunity to bring together a whole bunch of skill sets that you've been cultivating and to put them all together. There are some ideas in this chapter that when I first learned them, just revolutionized the way that I thought and worked, such as the concept of the gaps. So I hope that those might help you, whether that is, again, in terms of looking at yourself and also in terms of working with your students, your colleagues, or even your families and personal relationships. And as I said, the disposition that is associated with this habit is curiosity, which I've recently started recognizing or thinking about as a precursor to empathy. I think we can't really empathize with people if we're not curious about them, if we're not curious about ourselves. And so I've been actually starting to see the absolute essential skill and ability in curiosity. Curiosity, again, asks us to be vulnerable, asks us to put aside our assumptions and conclusions and our opinions and our beliefs, and that is scary. That's hard. And I hope that by now and onward, you, again, have at least some ideas of like, okay, that's hard. I'm going to go back and look at the chapter on stories because I have some stories about whatever it is that you want to be curious about or you're noticing you hold some assumptions about. I hope that you're all doing well out there. And to my friends in the freezing Midwest, I've been thinking about you this week and I'm hoping you are staying warm And I will see you all in the beginning of March for chapter 10. Be well, everybody. And I would still really love to hear from any of you. I often wonder how you're experiencing these videos. And, again, it's the green dot. All right, that's it.